I've been driving Teslas since 2021. I've made videos about them, put thousands of miles on them, and I still look back and think about things I wish someone had told me sooner. So whether you just took delivery or you're looking to pick yours up soon, here are 24 things to do right away. Before you drive off, take your time and go over the car carefully. Tesla prioritizes getting cars marked as delivered over initial quality control. They would rather have you accept the car and schedule a follow-up service appointment than to slow down their delivery process. I've purchased 4 Teslas over the past few years, and this has been the case with every single one. Cars may take damage from getting transported from the factory, and small things can get missed. The good news is Tesla is generally good about fixing legitimate issues when you flag them early. I believe they still give you a 72-hour window or 100 miles, whichever comes first, to report anything. Miss that window and suddenly that panel gap or paint scuff becomes your problem. Now, lucky for you, I've linked a full delivery checklist in the description below. Use it and take your time. I've nearly missed a few things on each delivery because I was too excited to slow down, but luckily the delivery checklist came in clutch. Don't make that mistake. This is ideally one you want to sort out before delivery day, but if you haven't, do it immediately. You have a few options to charge at home. A standard 120 volt outlet is the most accessible. It's literally just a regular wall outlet, but it only gives you about 3 miles of range per hour charged. This only really works if you drive less than 30 to 40 miles per day. For some people that's fine, but for a lot of people it's not. The next step up is a NEMA 1450 outlet, which is what a decent amount of EV owners go with. It gets you about 30 miles of range per hour charged and is relatively straightforward for an electrician to install. It's the same 240 volt outlet as a dryer. Then there's a Tesla wall connector, which is what I personally have at my house. It's hardwired directly into the circuit and gets you about 44 miles of range per hour charged, and I can plug in at night and wake up to a fully charged car. It's the cleanest, fastest, most permanent home charging solution you can get, and if you're planning on owning a Tesla long term or think you might add another EV to the household down the road, it's absolutely worth the investment. My recommendation is no matter which route you go, the 240 volt outlet or the Tesla wall connector route, to get multiple quotes from multiple electricians, don't go with the first quote you get. The moment you take delivery, your phone becomes your key. Not a backup, not an alternative, your actual key. Open the Tesla app, go to security, and add your phone. That's it. From that point on, you walk up to your car and it unlocks. You walk away and it locks. No buttons, no fumbling, no thinking about it, it just happens. The setup takes maybe 1 minute, and once you're done, you genuinely forget it exists, which is exactly the point. The best features are the ones that disappear into the background of your life. Now, the Tesla app itself is worth exploring beyond just the phone key setup. You can control your climate remotely, see your car's location, view Sentry Mode cameras live, and even honk the horn or flash your lights if you forget where you parked. Spend a few minutes in there, there's more than a lot of people realize. You just spot one of the most advanced machines on the road, so it's only fair today's sponsor matches that energy. This is the Hypershell X Ultra S, the world's most intuitive exoskeleton. Hypershell is actually the first brand to develop an exoskeleton specifically for outdoor use, and this is their most advanced one yet. And yes, this is real, this isn't a prop. I'm gonna show you exactly how it works and how it's going to make me stronger. Bear with me. Think of it like an e-bike, but for your legs. Instead of a motor in your wheels, the Hypershell X Ultra S straps to your waist and runs carbon fiber rods down your legs. And then those motors get to work. It wraps around your waist like a belt, clips in, and these rods run down your quads. The whole thing weighs about 1.8 kilograms, roughly 4 pounds, and it folds great in this carrying case. Now here's where it gets genuinely impressive. It's built around hyper intuition, a motion-controlled algorithm that can understand your intentions. And what makes it different from anything else out there is that it's driven by end-to-end AI. Instead of working in steps, sense, predict, respond, it works as one continuous system. It understands your movements as it happens and provides precise, seamless, and natural assistance instantly. No lag, no fighting it. The support feels less like a machine helping you and more like your body just essentially got better. Now I'm gonna be honest, the first time I strapped this on, it took me a minute to get my bearings straight. The waist adjustment is a little specific. You can pull it on one side at a time, which is by design, but you have to get the buckle centered. Once I figured it out, I could do it in about 15 to 20 seconds. And then I pressed the button to turn it on, and the first step, I actually laughed. That's when it clicks. It just feels natural. You also think of it as someone taller and stronger had grabbed your hips and said, I got you, your legs just go. All right, so I've got a really steep trail here. I'm gonna run up it without the Hypershell and then run up it again with the Hypershell. And each time I'm gonna time myself and see how much of a difference the Hypershell makes. So let's start the timer. 3, 2, 1. All right, so it's 25 seconds and 19 milliseconds without the Hypershell. So now I've got the Hypershell on. I'm gonna put it in hyper mode at 100% and do the same exact trail. So start it out. 3, 2, 1. So that was exactly 19 seconds flat. The difference isn't subtle. Here's my brother testing it out. His legs are doing maybe half the work, and when you turn it off, that's when it really hits. Everything suddenly feels heavier, and that's actually backed up by the data. The Hypershell X Ultra S lowers your average heart rate by up to 42% and reduces oxygen consumption by up to 39%. And that's not a made-up number, it's SGS certified. The thing that gets me is how natural it feels. I'm hitting something like a 97.5% gait sync, which is why it does not feel robotic at all. Honestly, I expected it to feel like I was fighting something robotic attached to my body. Instead, it just amplifies what you're already doing. You go uphill, it goes uphill with you. You slow down, it slows down with you. The response time is just 0.3 seconds, which is actually in line with your own nervous system. So it doesn't lag, it doesn't fight you, it just helps. It's also worth mentioning that it's the world's first exoskeleton tested and verified by Germany's TUV Rhineland laboratory. There are a few modes. You've got eco mode, it's smooth, efficient, and gets you up to 30 kilometers or about 18.5 miles on a single charge. That's a full day of hiking. And then you've got hyper mode. This is where the 1000 watts of peak power kicks in and the thing gets genuinely wild. Range drops to about 6 kilometers or about 3.7 miles in that mode, but you'll know why. You can switch between them with a button right here on your hip, and it gives you a haptic feedback so you know which mode you're in without pulling out your phone. There's also this boost mode where it provides maximum sprint level assistance for steep climbs, long expeditions, and high intensity activities, or just flat out sprinting like I'm doing here. There's also an Apple Watch integration if you want to switch on the fly without touching the device at all or touching your phone. You might be wondering what this transparent mode is. I briefly showed it earlier when my brother was running in hyper mode and I switched it to transparent mode. And it's a setting that pauses all the robotic assistance, allowing you to move freely with your own muscle power. It essentially functions as a standby or zero assistance mode, letting you run or walk naturally without the support from the Hypershell. And then there's fitness mode, which I had to try. Instead of it assisting your legs, it resists them. It genuinely feels like walking through quicksand. It's brutal, but in a good way. The build quality on this thing is legitimately premium. The leg rods are carbon fiber, as I mentioned, the same molding technique used in performance cars. The back rod is titanium alloy and it weighs next to nothing when it's on you for what it does. And it runs from -20 Celsius to 60 degrees Celsius or -40 degrees Fahrenheit to 140 degrees Fahrenheit. So whether you're hiking in the summer heat or skiing in the winter, it handles it all. Here's the thing, when I first saw this, my instinct was, is this cheating? Like, isn't the whole point of hiking that it's hard? But after actually using it, I think about it differently now. It doesn't replace the effort, it just extends how far that effort can take you. The whole idea is second nature, first step. And truthfully, after using this, that's exactly what it feels like. The Hypershell X Ultra S is linked in the description below. If you're into outdoor adventures, hiking, cycling, or just honestly walking around, check it out. You're going to feel like you unlocked a cheat code. Alright, back to the video. Now here's the thing about relying entirely on your phone. Phones die, or every once in a while technology just doesn't cooperate. The one time you actually need a backup and don't have one is not a fun situation, especially in a parking lot at night or on a road trip far from home. I keep the backup keycard tucked in my wallet. I genuinely forget it's there most of the time, which is exactly how it should be. But there's also another reason to have it always on you, and most new owners don't think about it until it's too late. Anytime you bring your car in for a tire rotation, a service appointment, or even a valet, you give them your key card, not your phone. Handing a stranger your phone for an hour or so while they move your car is not something you want to do. Keep the card on you, you'll barely know it's there until the one day you'll realize you really need it. If your Tesla has it, turn on auto shift immediately. What it does is automatically detect whether you're going to drive or reverse based on what's around you using the cameras. You get in, buckle your seatbelt, put your foot on the brake, and the car figures out which direction you need to go. Back out of your driveway, and once it detects the open road ahead, it shifts into drive on its own. No stalks, no buttons, nothing. And if you ever need to override it, you can still manually select your gear right on the touchscreen, so you're never locked out of control. It's just that most of the time you won't need to touch it at all. It sounds like a gimmick the first time you hear about it, and then you use it for a week, and the idea of manually selecting drive and reverse every single time you get in your car still feels genuinely archaic. It's one of those features that's so seamlessly integrated into the experience that you stop thinking about it almost immediately. Sentry mode uses all of the cameras on your car to record when it's parked. Someone door dings you in a parking lot, backs into you and drives off, tries to break in, you've got it all on camera. I cannot stress enough how many times this has been useful for me and people I know. Turn it on immediately. You can also customize it to be disabled at home or work if you want to preserve the battery. It does draw about a couple % of power per day, but in public I always have it running. Now there is something most people don't think about. The USB drive that comes with your car. It works, but it's not really ideal. Thumb drives aren't really built for constant read and write cycles that Sentry mode puts them through around the clock. They slow down, they corrupt, and wear out. My recommendation is to get an SSD instead. It's faster, more durable, handles the workload without breaking a sweat, and it's just a better long-term solution all around. Plus, it has a ton more storage than the thumb drive. I've linked a few in the description below that I personally recommend, and also the one that I use on a daily basis. Teslas come pretty bare bones, but here's the thing. There are accessories this car genuinely needs, and there's a whole world of stuff people buy because it looks cool on Instagram and TikTok, but it ends up collecting dust. Knowing the difference matters, especially when you're already spending serious money on the car itself. And the Tesla accessories market is massive. There are products for literally every square inch of this car, which sounds great until you're 3 pages deep on Amazon at midnight, buying things you'll never use. I actually made a dedicated accessories video recently that covers everything. The brands I trust, the ones I've personally tested across multiple Teslas, the stuff that actually holds up over time, and the things worth skipping entirely. It's probably the most thorough Tesla accessories video on YouTube right now. It's linked in the description below. Watch it before you spend a single dollar on accessories. You'll thank me later. Paint protection film, specifically on the front bumper and hood, is something you want to seriously consider before your car takes any highway miles. Rock chips can happen fast, and Teslas actually have a more exposed front end surface area than most cars because there's no grille. It's just a wide open area of paint taking everything the road throws at it. Bugs, gravel, debris, it all hits the front end directly. I've seen cars get chipped up within the first few weeks of ownership just from normal highway miles. Now I've done PPF myself on my 3 Model Ys and saved thousands of dollars compared to what shops were quoting me. It takes patience, a clean workspace, and a good slip and tack solution. It's genuinely doable as a DIY project, and the result is a nearly invisible layer of armor on the most vulnerable parts of your car. Once it's on, you forget it's there, but it's quietly taking every hit so your paint doesn't have to. If you wait too long and you get rock chips, you essentially are laminating the damage that's already there, so do it early. I've linked the exact PPF kits I've used and recommend in the description below. After PPF, ceramic coating is the next best thing you can do for your paint long term. It makes washing the car dramatically easier, gives the paint that deep glossy look, and protects it against UV damage, water spots, and environmental contaminants that slowly degrade your clear coat over time. The results speak for themselves. I've had ceramic coatings on my Teslas that still bead water like crazy years later. Just like PPF, this is something you can absolutely do yourself, and the savings compared to a professional shop are significant. But here's what I'll say. Do not just buy a kit and start wiping it on. The prep work and application technique make or break this entire thing. I made a full dedicated video on this that walks through everything step by step. Watch that before you touch your car. It's linked in the description below and it'll save you from making an expensive mistake. And also, side note, you don't need to do PPF and then a ceramic coating. If you choose to skip the PPF, you can absolutely apply the ceramic coating on its own. Just if you want to pair the two, it's recommended you do PPF first and then the ceramic coating on top of it. This one is partly aesthetic and partly practical. Tinting your side windows, rear window, and windshield blocks a significant amount of heat from entering the cabin. Your car stays cooler when parked, your climate control doesn't have to work as hard, and you're preserving range in the process. It also blocks UV rays that slowly fade and crack your interior over time. But not all tint is created equal. There is a big difference between cheap dyed film and quality ceramic tint, and making the wrong choice means you're either redoing it or living with something that bubbles and fades within a year. The windshield is one people overlook, but it makes a massive difference in heat and glare. I made a video specifically on what type of tint to get for your Tesla. Watch it before you get any quotes. It's linked in the description below. Coming from a car with buttons and dials, a Tesla takes some adjustment. Everything, and I mean everything, runs through that screen. Climate control, mirrors, lights, charging settings, full self-driving, media, you name it. Spend an hour or so sitting in the car and just poking around. Find out where things live before you need them while driving. The layout is intuitive, and once you know it, you're good to go. But the learning curve is real for about the first week or two. Just don't skip this step. We're about halfway through the video, and if you're finding it useful, drop a like and subscribe. It genuinely helps support the channel and it makes sure you don't miss any future videos. Press the right scroll wheel button and you have a personal assistant that can do more than most people realize. And this matters more in a Tesla than almost any other car, because there are no physical buttons or knobs you can reach for from muscle memory. As I mentioned, everything lives in a touchscreen, which means every time you want to change something, you're taking your eyes off the road. Voice commands completely solve that. Change the temperature, navigate somewhere, call someone, control your media, all without glancing away from what's in front of you. Once you start using it regularly, you'll realize how powerful it actually is. Driver profiles save your seat position, mirror angles, steering wheel height, self-driving preferences, and basically every little setting the car has, all tied to your phone. When you get in, the car knows it's you and it sets itself up accordingly. If someone else drives your car, you can create a separate profile for them so they can change whatever they want without touching your settings. And also set up easy entry, which slides the seat back and raises the steering wheel when you park, so getting in and out is less awkward. There are features in this car that most owners never find, not because they're hard to use, but because nobody told them they existed. Tesla doesn't hand you a guide and say, hey, here are 23 hidden things about your car that will change how you use it. Now, lucky for you, I made a dedicated video on exactly that, and the reaction from people who watched it is basically the same every time. Why didn't you tell me about this sooner? That video is linked in the description below. This car has way more layers to it than it appears on the surface, and the people that take their time to explore it genuinely get a different ownership experience than the people who just get in and drive. The default layout of the Tesla interface is fine, but it's not optimized for you specifically. You can customize the dock at the bottom of the screen to put whatever you use the most one tap away. Heated seats, various different apps, comfort settings, and the same goes for the Tesla app on your phone. Rearrange your shortcuts so that what you actually use is front and center. It takes a minute and makes daily use noticeably smoother. When you buy a new Tesla, you'll more than likely get a free trial of full self-driving. FSD is a feature that handles turns, stop signs, traffic lights, lane changes, and full point-to-point navigation on its own. It's a $99 a month subscription if you keep it after the trial. So the trial period is your window to actually figure out if it's worth it for your life. Don't just turn it on once in a parking lot and forget about it. Drive it in different conditions. Your daily commute, the highway, surface streets, somewhere unfamiliar. familiar. Push it and see how it performs. See if it genuinely changes how you feel about driving. Some people try it and never look back. Others decide it's not worth the monthly cost for how they drive. Either answer is fine, but you owe it to yourself to actually find out before the trial disappears. Tesla pushes software updates over Wi-Fi, and these updates genuinely improve the car over time. New features, performance improvements, bug fixes. You want your car receiving these automatically without you having to think about it. If you park in a garage and your router is on the other side of your house, the signal might not reach. A Wi-Fi extender or a mesh network node in the garage solves this completely. I've linked a couple that I use in the description below to help boost my Wi-Fi range. This is one of the simplest things you can do to protect your battery long term, and most new owners either don't know about it or just ignore it. Unless you have an LFP battery Tesla, which you can verify in your Tesla app, you don't want to charge to 100% regularly. Lithium-ion batteries degrade faster when they spend too much time at the very top or the very bottom of their charge range. 80% is a sweet spot for daily driving. It sounds like you're leaving range on the table, but think about it this way. If your Model Y has 327 miles of range at 100%, you still have about 262 miles at 80%. This covers the vast majority of people's daily driving without ever coming close to running low. Set the limit once in your charging settings and forget about it. You can also set location-dependent charging limits as well. Only bump it up to 100% when you actually need the full charge for a road trip or you're about to use it immediately. Your battery will thank you years down the road. Now this next one you want to do before you open a trunk in your garage for the first time. The default height will likely hit your garage ceiling. Open the trunk, stop it at the height that clears your ceiling, then press and hold the trunk button for a few seconds until it beeps. It saves that position as a geofence setting specific to your home. Every time you open the trunk in your garage from that point on, it stops exactly at the right height. This saves it from a very avoidable and very expensive mistake. Now if you did make the mistake of it hitting your garage ceiling and the cost to repair is too high, just slap on a carbon fiber spoiler over it. It'll cover it up nicely and it looks pretty cool. I'll link a few in the description below for you to check out. Tesla's acceleration is one of the first things everyone talks about when they get in the car. It's immediate, it's powerful, and it never gets old. But here's something most new owners don't think about. That instant torque that makes the car so fun to drive is also what destroys your tires faster than you'd expect. Teslas are heavy cars and the motors deliver power instantly, which puts a lot of stress on your tires every single time you accelerate. Switching to chill mode for your everyday commute smooths out that power delivery and significantly extends the life of your tires. You're not going to lose the fun of the car. You can switch back to standard anytime you want. But for your daily driving, chill mode is one of those settings that quietly saves you money every single day just by being on. As you know, the federal EV tax credit is gone, but don't stop there. A lot of states have stepped up with their own EV incentives, and many utility companies offer rebates just for buying an electric vehicle or installing a home charger. Some states are surprisingly generous, and most people never claim them simply because they didn't know they existed or they missed out on the submission window. That's the key thing here. A lot of these incentives require you to submit paperwork within a specific time frame after purchase, so this isn't something you can put off and come back to later. The clock is ticking from the day you take delivery. Spend 15 minutes or so Googling your state plus EV rebates and your utility company plus EV incentives and see what's out there for you. It varies a lot depending on where you live, but in some cases we're talking hundreds or even thousands of dollars just sitting there waiting to be claimed. Don't leave that on the table. Now Teslas don't have a spare tire. A lot of new owners find this out at the worst possible moment on the side of a highway. At minimum, keep a tire plug kit and a portable inflator in your trunk at all times. I carry both in mind and I've linked the specific ones I use in the description below. Now beyond tires, there are a few other things worth keeping back there. A J1772 adapter, also a CCS adapter for those charging situations where a supercharger isn't nearby and your only option is third-party fast chargers. Lift pucks, these rubber pads that protect your battery pack when you need to jack up the car for a tire rotation or roadside assistance, because lifting a Tesla without them in the right spots can cause serious damage. None of this takes up much space and you genuinely never think about it until you desperately need it. Not every utility offers this, so this is one thing to check with your power company. But if they do offer time of use rates, and a lot of them do, this is free money you're leaving on the table if you're not taking advantage of it. Off-peak hours are typically overnight, and the difference in cost per kilowatt hour between peak and off-peak can be significant depending on where you live. You can set your Tesla to automatically start charging at a specific time, so it always takes advantage of those cheaper rates without you having to think about it ever again. Go in your charging settings, set your schedule, plug it in when you get home, and the car handles the rest. It won't start pulling power until your off-peak window opens. Depending on your rates and how much you drive, this adds up real savings over the course of a year just for taking 5 minutes to set it up once. Tesla will handle your trade-in, but their offer is non-negotiable. They give you a number, and that's just a number. No back and forth, no haggling, no matching a competitor. A lot of people just accept it because it's convenient, and they're caught up in the excitement of getting their new car. Don't do that. Before accepting anything, spend an hour getting quotes from Carvana, CarMax, and a few local dealerships. Even consider listing it yourself if you have the time and the patience. Private party sales almost always get you more money than any dealer will offer. The difference between Tesla's offer and what you can actually get elsewhere can be thousands of dollars. That's just thousands of dollars that can go directly to your new car, your accessories, or your home charging installation, whatever you need. The trade-in is convenient, but convenience has a price. Know what your car is actually worth first. And that's 24 things. Even if one of these things saves you money, protects your car, or just makes ownership feel less overwhelming, this video did its job. I've got links to everything mentioned in the description below. Also, drop a like and subscribe to my channel, and let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. As always, thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.